Joe Reinagel, Jason Minix, The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is The Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Tonight, the San Antonio Spurs are back home in the Dome.
Into Sean Elliott. He fires the three and hits it! His sixth of the game!
What a shot! Bob, it looked like he was going to step out of bounds. He caught it and tight-broke the sideline. What a shot!
Man, that's the shot you take with the clock running out, not with 9 seconds left.
That fooled me. I didn't think they would shoot a three right there. And he was actually covered pretty well. The man went for the steal. Bob, it's the closest three you take on that sideline, and it's also the easiest place to step out of bounds. Watch his feet. He gathered himself and buried the three. Sean Elliott.
The Memorial Day miracle, in my mind, the biggest moment ever in the AlamoDome as far as it goes with the San Antonio Spurs. And Sean Elliott joining us now on the Blitz are going to be on the call tonight for this game with Avery Johnson. Sean, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Jason. What's happening, man?
Ready for this game tonight, Sean, and as you're preparing for it, you think about going back to the Dome. Richard Oliver tweeted some video of you earlier in that kind of spot. Throwing up those, now the video he showed, you missed one, but made one, man. I'm glad you still got it.
Well, I had to warm up because my TV crew called me last night and wanted to see if we could reenact it. And like I say all the time, I only need one shot at it. So, I just had to take a few warm-ups, and you'll have to wait and watch the telecast if you're not at the game to see the results. That's all I got to say.
Well, Rasheed Wallace wasn't in the way, and that might have had something to do with it, Sean. I don't know. And I've known you for a long time, Sean. I've never heard you mention the Memorial Day miracle before.
Right. I only talk about it, 100 times a day. So, where have you been?
I know. I mean, we got that last audio. That's actually Sean's ringtone.
No, it's awesome, Sean. And again, Jason and I were talking about it, and that, to me, the most memorable moment inside the AlamoDome when the Spurs played there was that shot. So that will go down in Spurs history forever and ever and ever. What's it like to be back there in the Dome, and not only back there in the Dome, but with your old buddy Steve Kerr?
Yeah, it's a little nostalgic walking back in there today, and the court obviously is in a different spot. It's not where it was when we played. Just to go in there and feel the energy, Joe. I mean, it's like there are a bunch of people around. The place was already electric without any fans in there. And so I just can't wait to see what it's going to be like tonight. And, so many players are coming back. Avery Johnson is going to be on the call with us. Last night I had the opportunity to go to dinner with Avery, and then Pop and Steve showed up. Later on, RC was there, and it was just it's a great moment because it feels like a reunion for so many guys that were on that team or had something to do with the championship. And we're just going to soak it all in, and we're just going to have a great time on the telecast and pull for our guys to play a great game.
It's going to be fun to watch. I imagine for the fans that are there, it's going to be exciting. Although, as you're looking around that court, where do they have your setup? Because it might be a little bit more difficult if they put you guys up in the press area.
I think we're like second row of the press row. So, I mean, we're going to have a level view of the game. It's going to be a little bit different. I think it's going to be different for everybody involved, the fans included. But it's going to be an experience, and that's what it's going to be all about. It's about the fans in San Antonio and the city of San Antonio showing their support and going out and showing the rest of the NBA that we do indeed have the best fans, the most devoted fans in the league. They're going to come out. We're going to break this record for most fans ever at an NBA game, and I think that's something to be proud of. I'm just overwhelmed actually today because I saw that employees would go home early. The mayor has declared that all garages downtown are free parking, and so it's just amazing to see all the support and the entire city rallying behind this.
This city has been incredible, as you know, Sean, when it comes to this basketball team. I mean, it's part of this city, and people just love it. And we saw pictures down at the park and ride. It's packed. People starting to head down to the Dome on Via, and all week, and really it's been longer than that, 2 or 3 weeks before. People have just been talking about this like this is the NBA Finals Game 7. It's incredible to hear the fans talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, people are amped. I mean, I came out of there today after that shoot, and a lot of people showing up early. A lot of people showing up way early. I mean, I was there coming out of the Dome at 2:30, and people were showing up already, and they were just, thrilled to be there, thrilled to be a part of it. I mean, I think the fans and the city recognize that this is a part of history, and everybody wants to be a part of this. And it's just amazing that so many people have stepped forward and shown their support for our team.
Sean Elliott joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. And the way this season has gone, win-losses wise, you think about the 50th anniversary of the team. This game, this is an event tonight. Kind of feels like a big San Antonio reunion. And you mentioned, going to dinner last night. I mean, could you imagine back in the day when both these teams are fighting for titles, if Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich were seen at dinner the night before the game?
Yeah, I know it's pretty crazy, but it's just kind of funny how life just continues to grind along. And Steve was a player here, Avery Johnson obviously a player, and then became a coach, and now Steve is a coach. And just to see all those everybody just grow up, and to see the path that basketball has taken us on. And I could talk about Pop and how I met him in '89, and he was just an assistant coach, and now he's one of the greatest coaches in professional sports, of all time. And Steve is following that path too. And Avery was an amazing coach, a great player. Steve, both those guys, I use them as examples of incredible hard work, and guys who just didn't have, like Pop says, the toolbox to work with, and they still found a way to get it done. And so it's just that dinner last night, it's one of the few times I've just sat back and not said a whole lot and listened to stories and looked around the table and just experienced what was going on.
Well, for you not to say anything, it must have been pretty entertaining talk, right? I mean,
yeah, I was speechless those two times. And that tells you a lot.
Sean, when you first walked into the AlamoDome as a player the first time, and that's where you guys were going to play for a while, what was your first thought about playing inside a football stadium like that?
I honestly didn't think anything about it. I played in domes before, so that didn't bother me. I played in domes in college. I played in the dome in Minnesota when I was in my first couple of years. So I didn't really think, anything of it. I just thought it was the place to play, and it was a place that actually helped save the team because our own wasn't adequate. The hemisphere was not adequate enough, and so it was a place kind of like a stopgap, but we didn't think of it that way at the time. We just thought that it was our home, and so for me, it didn't concern me at all. I didn't think twice about it. I didn't think about all the sight lines and all the cons against playing in a dome. I just went out and wanted to play, and and it worked out well for all of us.
It certainly has. Sean Elliott, Spurs legend, and now color commentator for Spurs television, with us here on the Blitz 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. I would imagine tonight on the local broadcast, all the flashbacks are going to be more positive moments, and either the fire cannon or the Memorial Day miracle is going to be the number one, right? But on ESPN today on NBA Live, they're doing a lot of tributes to the AlamoDome, and I think Malik Andrews and what was the Memorial Day miracle, 6 or 7?
Yeah, something like that.
On the list of big plays.
Yeah.
And then their top plays, honestly, Sean, it was Shaq with the big dunk.
Over David.
You had a dunk against the Lakers that was ahead of the Memorial Day Miracle, and then Akeem Olajuwon and what he did to David back in the mid 90s. I just we can't have that. I mean, we're celebrating the Dome. Why did ESPN, and I know you can't really answer that, but slap those guys around a little bit since they've got the national broadcast? Yeah.
Well, I can't answer that because I worked there for 2 years. And so, again, you have to understand that when I got there at ESPN, you know, it was the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, and then everybody else. And so no one really understood our players. No one understood the history of our team. And so, you know, the people who came up with that list, they just don't understand the history behind that shot and, you know, all the struggles that it went through before. So, you know, that's all that's about. You know, they just don't understand, you know, everything involved in that shot and, you know, all the disappointments in the previous years and us finally getting over the hump.
You know, Sean, I could go back to that game. It was such an exciting game against Portland. What were you, 6 of 7 that night from 3? Did I have that right?
Right.
That was incredible. And I don't know who it was. I think it was Mario Elliott that you looked at, and you said, I told you. What is the story behind that?
Well, you know, it was one of those games, Joe, where we were, you know, I just felt like I couldn't miss. I mean, like I said before, and I said, you know, plenty of times that in shoot around that, or sorry, before the game started, I always shoot 25 threes and I only missed one. And the one I missed, you know, kind of popped in and out. And so when it came time, at that time, you know, I just felt I had hit 2 threes already in the fourth quarter. And so, you know, I just felt it. And so when I got to the bench, you know, Pop was calling up a play, but I told Mario, I said, I got one more in me. I have one more in me. And Mario and I had connected that year in Phoenix on a buzzer beater. So Mario and I had a connection. We talked about it lots of times where if it broke down, he was looking for me. You know, that's all it was. And so when I made that shot, you know, I looked at him and I told you so. He had this big smile on his face and threw a high five. But, you know, it was just one of those times. I mean, you know, I think every player, you play long enough, you have those games where you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to focus on the basket. If you throw it up, you know it's going in. And that was one of those nights.
It was. And again, like all of us in the Dome, everybody in San Antonio remember exactly where you were.
No doubt.
And I know for the media, we were kind of in the end zone area of seats as opposed to the sideline for that big playoff game. And halftime of that game, I thought it was a loss, man. Spurs were getting run out of the building. But then the great comeback and then that shot, it was incredible. I know a lot of people, Sean Elliott, will be talking about that tonight, like Sean.
Now, y'all aren't going to have that on the broadcast tonight, are you, Sean?
Well, you know, maybe, Joe. Maybe. Like I said, you know, I've said it before, and I did a piece with Rudy Gay when Rudy was here his first year, and I went to the practice facility, and Rudy and I played a game of horse. And I don't know if you remember that piece, but I won on the Memorial Day Miracle shot, and I shot it once and made it. And I always tell people, I'll make it again. All I need is one look at it. Got a good warm up today, so you will see later on tonight.
Outstanding.
Right. Sean Elliott joining us here on the Blitz. Give us a little bit of a teaser here, Sean. I know there'll be, 65 or so thousand people in the Dome, and then, the great ratings that Spurs television always gets. For those that won't be in there that are going to be watching at home, we know that we will see the Memorial Day Miracle during the broadcast tonight. Avery Johnson is going to be a part of it. What is the Avery highlight that's going to be on the broadcast tonight?
That's a good question. I think they're going to have a couple of things to show Avery and have Avery talk about. But Avery had a lot of great stories last night. As a matter of fact, there were 2 or 3 times where I told him, I was like, remember that, save that for the broadcast, because we got to bring that up because people need to hear that. And Avery is just the coolest dude, and he's much more mellow now. And he was like, I'm just gonna talk here and there. You're gonna do the talking. I said, hey, people hear me all the time. They want to hear from you. So he's gonna share some great stories.
I know with Bill Land being back on the air tonight and Michelle Beadle a part of it, I guess we'll probably see some Cody Clubhouse video. But But at the same time, I know what you guys normally do, but it's not, like on some of those big games with college football, they just do everybody in the film room and the game is on, but they're not really doing play-by-play and it's more story time. I hope we get a lot of that tonight on television.
Yeah, I think we will. We definitely want to stay true to the game because there is actually a game going on, but everybody's coming back. We're going to have, we're supposed to have Manu and Dave on in the studio at times, and we're going to be able to go back and forth with film on the telecast. So I'm looking forward to that because Dave was obviously a great storyteller, and so is Manu. So if you're a Spurs fan and you've been a Spurs fan for a long time, it's a great opportunity to tune in and hear from so many of the guys that have been there and built their careers and had so many great memories in the building. So, I know the production crew and I know the organization wants to make it special for the fans in the building, but they definitely want to make it special for the fans that aren't able to make it.
Well, and even the ones that don't make it, the ones in the building are certainly going to set their DVR because it's not necessarily about watching the game; it's about listening to the stories. And if you forgot to set your DVR, thank God our phones allow us to do that. Sean, before we let you go, you've mentioned a lot of names. Were you guys able to convince Tim Duncan to leave the house tonight?
I don't think so. I was just talking to my producer about that too. I said, "Where's Timmy? Is he going to be here?" And they're like, Timmy. So I said, "Yeah, I do know Timmy." So even when Tim came out, we honored him. He walked out to half court, he waved, and he walked right back in the tunnel. We get other guys on TV. Timmy, he wants to wave everybody, then he wants to go on home.
Yeah, way too many people for Timmy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly what it is. But knowing Tim, he'll be texting you, making fun of you during the broadcast. He'll still figure out a way to be a part of it. Sean, have a great time tonight. I can't wait to watch.
All right. I appreciate both of you guys.